So welcome to our Heard on the Streets convo with Sherrie Handrinos. She's the founder of Houston-based BoostOne Marketing and PR. Today we'll talk about the growing trend of brands using individuals called influencers who have a dedicated social media following for the most part and are seen as like experts in their field to promote products or services. So I guess we call that influencer marketing, Sherrie.
I guess
And
so.
tell me, for folks like me who aren't so familiar with influencer marketing, and what exactly is it, and how are companies using it?
So it's almost like this new area we're exploring. I've done PR for over 16 years, and I'm a firm believer, as you know, that PR works, organic media works, storytelling works. And I think what we need to do is accept the changing of the times and know that, number one, social media has grown in the past, 10 years. Number two, now this influencer situation, I guess you could call it, or whatever trend. I don't think it's a trend though. I think it's here to stay. That's the other thing. I don't want to call it a trend. I think it can only grow if done properly. And I see some influencers just kicking butt in doing it properly. So I think you could call it influencer marketing because I just sat down with a potential client yesterday, and I think I've said this before with you. I see your brand as spokes on a bicycle wheel that they all need to be put in place to have the wheels, spin smoothly. And I think that the influencers are one of the spokes on our wheel right now.
So why do you think this influencer marketing era has grown so much, and why is it so effective compared to the traditional marketing and advertising strategies?
I think one of the reasons it's so effective is people are very instant gratification driven, right? If as we've seen viral moments happen where they will sell out a brand. And here's the thing, I want to be clear. I don't think influencer marketing is the answer to everything. I think it's a addition to everything that companies are doing. So I also want to be very clear on, I do not think people should stop a marketing campaign that is proven to work. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't think people should stop their normal PR campaigns as they're doing. I think what they need to do is add to the pot, right? And the reason I think it's so successful, it depends on the influencer too. People go to that for instant gratification. If you're looking for a restaurant, you're in a new city, you're most likely going to go to Instagram nowadays and maybe search a hashtag or search food bloggers in the city of Houston, for example. And there are some really amazing food bloggers that I can tell you have actually went viral for some of our clients and made a tremendous difference in that brand and that growth. So I do think that instant gratification is a part of it. And the second part is people are visual. They eat with their eyes. And I'm talking about food for the moment just because I just referenced that. But think about if you see a great dish or a really fun drink, people are usually like, I want to try that. That looks amazing. They don't say, like, oh, I think that might taste good, but they say it looks amazing. People are visual. And when you're using social media, TikTok, Instagram to portray that, and people are seeing what you have, right? It helps with that instant gratification and wanting to drive people into that business, whether it's to try that particular food item or even catch the vibes of what it is.
But that brings me to something you and I have already talked about. You created your own department for this. Can you kind of take me down that journey? How did this come about? Um,
Yeah, we did, and we're still doing it. But we felt like we had to. I was starting to partner with different companies and being quite candid, getting feedback from not only clients but also the influencers is what catapulted us to open this department. And what we do are two things: is one, we book influencers for our clients and bring them in, whether it's a restaurant or something like that. And then the other side of it is working with the influencers. And we had to do it not only because I saw a need for somebody to merge these two worlds. And let me be clear, there are some great influencer companies out there that just do that. I'm just saying from my own experience, when we're working with clients and they want influencers to come in, let's say once a week to their restaurant, that takes time and effort. Um, and so I think that we had to do it because I like to be able to produce what I think is good quality work. But on the other side, along the way, what I've heard from these influencers is sometimes they feel like they're treated like crap by companies. They feel like that they're not valued. They feel like they're not heard. And I do think that that's something that, as a PR firm and as someone that works with multiple brands, we need to consider. A lot of these girls are great girls and men that have 9 to 5 jobs that started doing this because they loved it and it grew organically. Uh, and I think that that's a double-edged sword to really balance on. So we started this, and honestly, we're we're loving it. And the person in my company running it is wonderful. Her name is Brittany, and she's very good at what she's the balancing act of it. So right now we're actually working with a couple influencers to grow their brand and get ready for the holidays. So we're really interested and excited to see how their holiday brand campaigns roll out that we're rolling out for them. Because here's the other thing, some of these influencers are now a brand, right? So they're not just influencing to promote your brand, they become their own brand. So that's another part I think people can tap into.
Yeah, you did mention Brittany running this department, and hopefully we get to speak to her during our next session.
Yeah.
Um, so also, how do you choose these individuals? Is it all about the following, or do you kind of have to look at, what type of traction they get on their page, basically, comments or likes to a post? Because you can have some folks with a large following, but don't really have many comments or anybody
Correct.
interacting with
Or
their
no
posts.
engagement,
No
right? No,
engagement.
you're spot on. If one thing I would love to talk about is this, because I do not believe that just because you have a ton of followers, you're the best influencer. I think you have to look at influencers that are doing what relates to your business and your brand, and if it works. I think that everyone starts somewhere, right? So not everyone started with 1 million followers. I've seen reels go viral that have 20,000 followers, 10,000 followers, and got 1 million views and grew their page. I do not think that if you have the most followers, that means you're the best influencer, because it may not be good for your brand. Someone, let's say, that does not drink alcohol, let's use that for an example, and has 1 million followers, may not be good for a bar with trendy drinks. Now, if they have mocktails, that might be a good tie-in. But just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean the people that are looking for maybe a happy hour, that's not really going to be effective, because your followers are probably a little bit more of your vibe. I've seen this with some of the different, like right now we work with a coffee brand, Circle House Coffee. It's owned by former NFL player Stephen Tulloch. And we're working through this whole influencer thing. And could be considered an influencer, right? He's an 11-year NFL veteran, and he has a great following from his football playing and his community engagement. But the other thing is, we've actually just partnered with this really great coffee influencer that all he does is post coffee and driving engagement to the page. So I do think that you have to really look at who are we and what are we trying to attract. I am not the person, and I'll be honest, I don't agree. There's clients we work with that only want someone over a certain amount of followers. I personally don't agree with that, and I say that to them because here's the other part of this that I think we should tap into is the cost. Um, I also think that as you start as an influencer, there's levels to it. That of course, you want to eventually get compensated. But I will say, and I've talked to some of the girls we work with on the influencer side, is if you're going to a steakhouse and they're comping you a $500 dinner, that's a lot of money for them to comp too. And then you're, of course, getting this great date night out. So we have to figure out, and I think we're still figuring out that happy medium, right? Because there's a big risk for companies to, let's say, pay an influencer $10,000 to post one post and hope and cross your fingers that it's going to work. I don't know if I'm the big component. I'm not a bit, unless you're maybe getting Kim Kardashian. I don't know, or Kylie Jenner. I don't know if you're going to really hit what you're hoping for. So it's also like, let's be realistic on this campaign that we do, just like you do in a marketing campaign. Give it time, build it up, be reasonable on both ends, on the client end or the business end, and on the influencer end. Let's be reasonable, right? In how we want to actually execute this and what are we giving and taking. The other one more thing I want to add to that is, I have had great relationships with influencers that will go in and will comp $250, $300. And if the restaurant is great and they get good reviews, I've literally had influencers come back to me and say, Sherrie, I'm going back just because I loved it. I don't want anything for free. I just actually loved the service. My waiter was great. And then now they're building a relationship. And I just told that to a girl that she has about 12,000 followers. And we had her come into a restaurant. Her bill was over $350 for her dinner, right? That's a nice restaurant.
Right.
They have other brands that are not in the city of Houston, but now they're gonna consider her for when they open up that budget. So I think influencers need to remember it's not like build your relationships just like all of these marketing companies and PR companies do. We all love instant gratification, but there's a right way to do it. And I think that's where I think a lot of times there's a gap between influencers and businesses of really creating that bond and relationship to grow with the brand. So, it's definitely a juggling act that we're experiencing right now.
And my last question, so with your clients, do you suggest they use influencers, or is it only for certain industries, or is it based on the client's needs? Like, can everyone benefit from an influencer, or just certain brands and companies?
It's a really good question. I don't know if I have a one answer for that for you. I
Mm,
think that because I'm looking behind this computer screen that I'm looking at you on, and I'm looking at my list of clients that go from surgeons to plant shops to restaurants, let's just say, and NFL players. Um, a surgeon, let's say if he were to actually do a trade for a surgery, that could be upwards of $20,000 he's coming out of pocket, right? Staff, OR, anesthesiologist, aftercare. That's a lot. You really have to look at how if that campaign's worth it. Now, let's say we're looking at a restaurant that may have like a new dish. We work with this restaurant Confessions in Houston. They're in a great location, and they have these strawberry wings, and they have been so popular. Those strawberry wings, everyone goes in, every influencer. We even tell them get the strawberry wings and post about it. When we put them on TV, we bring the strawberry wings on TV. That, yes, it is worth it, especially when you see a celebrity eating those wings. If you saw, Jay-Z was in Houston this weekend. I don't know if you saw that the restaurant Taste Kitchen where he went to, and he said he hadn't eaten pork in 50 years. Did you see that?
no, I didn't. Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
I
that
know
is my
I thought
client.
he was a vegetarian or something, or vegan, but he
Yeah, they're
actually,
not vegan right now, but that is my
okay,
client, Chef Bowie, that
chef, okay,
they got the food from. That is like an influence you can't pay for. Like,
yeah,
that happened, and let me give kudos to where it's due. Chef Don Bowie, who owns Taste Kitchen and Bar down in downtown Houston. Number one, his food's amazing. He's an amazing person, but he also really understands the power of PR, because when that order came in at 11 p.m., I think it was Friday night, he texted me immediately and was like, heads up, this is what we're doing. So,
mhm,
there's levels to understanding these campaigns and the influence it has. Because of Jay-Z coming, and then the videos that surfaced on Sunday night, and us knowing what they ordered, and then him saying that on camera, that was obviously posted everywhere. We have influencers now calling us, say, I want to eat what Beyonce ate there. Like, can I get in, Sherry? So, there's so many levels to working through this. I think now that I got into this, I forgot your stinking question, but I think it was about, is it better than marketing and PR? Is it one or the other? Was that what you asked me?
No, I asked you, I guess, how do you decide whether an influencer is good to use for your
Okay.
client, or your client actually to use an influencer that way around?
Yeah, so also knowing if that is appealing to their following.
Mm,
I had a girl that we're managing now and building out her brand, and she told me before she worked with me, she would get a lot of invitations to restaurants that she would not eat at. And she would prefer this type of food, and her followers, she gets better insights on this type of restaurant versus maybe this type of restaurant. Like, she doesn't eat a lot of fried food. So, like, sure, I don't really want to post a lot of fried food because that's not what I eat anyways. And I feel disingenuous posting something that I'm not going to ever go back to and eat. Cool. So, I think that you have to really take a look at what the brand is and how it aligns. What Brittany does really well on our team, and her and I work hand in hand, and that is looking at specific people that we believe would work for those brands, to invite out. And I think that that's important. I think it's not just throwing everything up against the wall and seeing what sticks. It never works, whether it's marketing, PR, or influencers. You have to have a plan and you have to be strategic. And you have to trust the process.
Yeah,
Everybody needs to be patient, trust the process. It is not a light switch.
which is sometimes hard to do for a lot of people.
Oh, for everybody, even
Patience.
myself, right?
Yeah,
I think that we all want instant gratification, and sometimes we have to understand that there's a process to things in life. And with any type of marketing campaign, it's a process for, you know, people to say, I want to spend my money on that. So if you think about it for yourself or whoever's listening to this, when you see something new, do you buy it that second, or does it take you a couple times to see it? Maybe organically, maybe one time you saw it in an ad, one time you saw it on an influencer posting, one time you saw it in a magazine article, maybe one time you saw them on TV, and then finally you're like, what is this? Let me look it up. So you have to do more. The one thing is not going to get you the golden ticket. It's just not. Now you can get lucky and go viral. Now that's a great thing, but you can't go viral on purpose. So how people usually go viral is by doing all of these other things, right? And eventually it just hooks.